What's going on, world? It's your man Pat Caesar, Caesar LLC, mobile mechanic and roadside services. I'm up here at the shop right now, man, and I'm cooling it, working on this 1990 Dodge Dakota. And man, this thing has been about a nightmare. It's got that 3.9 V6 in it, and customer told me that it ran, but it didn't. And we got a lot to talk about with this car: business and structuring. We're gonna get into it right after the intro. All right, mi gente, before we go any further, man, thank you for everybody who subscribed to my channel, man. Y'all know we about business, we about life, we about growth, we about towing, and we about roadside services and mechanic services. This is what we do here at Caesar. So for all my subscribers and my day ones, thank y'all. I sincerely appreciate it. To all my new subscribers, thank you guys. Make sure y'all share it with a friend, like, and then comment down below. You got any questions and concerns, I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Well, working on this 1990 Dodge Dakota right here, 3.9 V6. And you know, I asked the customer, why you want to fix this thing? It's got a lot of sentimental value to her, and you know, that's cool. Well, she told me it ran, and I got it back to the shop, tried to get it to run. It did not run. Ended up going through a whole lot of stuff. It's been here for 3 days, and I just got it to run actually, and figured out the problem thanks to my handy dandy power probe. I'll leave a link down to the description below because that thing is the truth. Well, I was originally thinking it was the fuel pump, and I still kind of think it was. And I'm gonna tell you what was going on. So, I probably should just go all the way down. Hold on. All the way down up in her. All right. Hate it touching this thing. It's all moldy. All right. Hopefully, can't really see it, but all that is mold. It is disgusting. Either way, I wasn't getting any fuel. I did not check my connection points for power or ground beforehand. I just was like, well, it's not getting fuel. She told me it ran. It already had a new fuel filter on here. More than likely it's the fuel pump because I can't hear it priming. I did have power, later found out it did have power going to the pump. When I dropped the tank, I took the fuel unit out, and you know, how can I explain this? I took the fuel sending unit out, and directly connected to the fuel pump to get it to see if it would work, and it did. After a couple of times of reversing back and forth, I'm assuming it was just gummed up because the truck's been sitting for so long. Well, fast forward to today, everything's back in. I hired a buddy to put the tank back in for me because I was tired of touching mold, and I was tired trying to go and knock out some other business. And D-Man, I'm shouting you out, so if you're watching this, it's all love, man. It's all love. It's not your fault. Well, I hired my homie to finish up the job for me. He put the tank back up, blah blah blah, and he hits me up. He's like, hey bro, it's done, blah blah blah. I'm like, cool, you know what I'm saying? Shot him, whatever. He's like, but listen, man, there was this thing that popped. I'm not too sure what popped, but I was assuming it was the tank settling back in on the straps. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. This tank don't usually settle back in like that. Well, I finally got it started, gave it some extra juice, got it started. I'm listening to it, I'm going around it, and then see where I got this absorbent? Right there. All this was filled with gas. I just put gas in it, as you can see. And I'm like, oh no, it's leaking. I cut it off. I go under and I'm looking around. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just got it to run. And that wasn't even a part of what I was actually supposed to be doing to the vehicle. The customer told me it ran, but it would shut off by itself and it wouldn't start back up. None of which of the things that's actually happened, because it did not run at all when I first got the vehicle. So trying to figure that out. Finally got it to run. And long story short, I hit up my homie, and I took off this wheel. This piece right here goes on top of the sending unit. See if I can get a good visual of this in here. Right there for the, I think that's the return line actually. So no problem, whatever. It's already kind of been a little bit of a nightmare with the vehicle because for one, the customer told me it drove, it did not. It had wasps everywhere, that sucked. And then the icing on the cake to that whole thing was when I bought the fuel pump, I dropped the tank and did all this work only to find out that the fuel pump was not the right one for it. And I went back to get the whole fuel pump sending unit and they do not sell it. Fast forward to today, everything's back up. Now I find out it's leaking. I called a parts store again and they're like, yeah man, we told you the other day that they don't sell this part. Great. Then I called the dealership. And what does the dealership say? They no longer sell this part. So they're like, you have to call one of the parts stores. Now, unbeknown to them, I already called the parts stores. So I go to a secret squirrel website to find any used part, only to find out there is not one listed that I can find in the continental US. Yeah. There's a pretty big problem. Pretty big problem because it doesn't matter that I got it to run because the customer already thought it run. And finally I did get it to. Actually, it ended up being a relay. But now I got a broken part to the fuel system that I can do nothing about. And because of this one thing right here, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, this is the thing. When you hire somebody on to do something, you are the sole person responsible for that job. So it doesn't matter if, you know, Joe Smo down the block, whatever, decided, you know, he's gonna do it good or do it bad. As you, the person hiring the person, you have to go back over the job and take responsibility. And I think that's a big problem, like all in all throughout our society. A lot of people actually don't want to take responsibility. I completely understand. The shop's a mess, by the way. You guys probably see I got my cars. I still got a ton of organizing, but I got like 6 cars that I still need to finish up. These two, this Civic and my Exploder here already. I got to finish up the quads. Tires, I got more work than I know what to do with now. It's a blessing, but it's definitely hard to deal with, especially when you have a situation like this, because now I have this vehicle sitting here and my bay is blocked, so I can't get these vehicles out, and I still got to jump on that car. I got another car over there, and I really would like to be inside because it's gotten a little chilly down here in Florida. But yeah. So before this goes into too much of a rant, whenever you hire somebody, you know, you taking on the responsibility. This why it's when you got somebody who's an employee and they talking X, Y, and Z about, you know, leaving a legacy and all this stuff. You gotta remember that you cannot pass on your job to your kids. Like it doesn't work like that. You cannot, you know, you can give them, you know, things, but if they're not, you know, educated in how to manage those things, you know, like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, something like that. Like, let's just say you just gave them an investment portfolio, right? If they don't know how to pick stocks, how the market cycles work, when to pull in, when to pull out of the market, like, they're gonna end up losing it all. So, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, my job is to not only employ the world, but to take responsibility and try to win big in doing so. So I do that same thing and that same philosophy towards my kids. The ideal for me is I'm doing this so I can not just give it to them, but to show them it's not only possible, and I will give it to them, don't get me wrong, but they're gonna need to know how to maintain it. You know, if I give you a pet lion, it might eat you unless you know how to actually maintain it. So, you know, you got to be careful with the people that you bring on. You got to be careful with, you know, maintenance, man. People trust me with their lives, with their cars, you know what I mean? And I respect that, and I don't take it for granted for any grain. Like, I don't take it for granted, you know. I really appreciate that. So, you know, I'm in this situation to where I can't, what I use that to say it all, to say this: I cannot pass the responsibility on to the person that I hired to do the job, even if it was their fault, which I'm not blaming them at all. But even if it was, I cannot pass that on because the customer left the vehicle in charge with me. So, you know, when you're an employee, that you ain't got to worry about that. If they come back, whatever, you know, you still getting paid by the hour for the most part. So that's another video coming up: hourly versus salary versus by the job. That's gonna be a good discussion that we have. So yeah, when you're entrepreneur, you're risking the biscuit, you know what I'm saying? And now, like I said, I got this car or this truck right here, and it's old. I knew it was old. I probably wouldn't have taken the job if I knew what it was prior, but you know, that's neither here nor there, because now I'm in it, and now I got to figure out how the heck I'm probably gonna have to like build. I'm probably gonna have to build some sort of fuel system to make this work. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know. But what I do know is that I always make something happen, and I always take full responsibility for my actions, and you guys should too. So granted, this is not running like it's supposed to right now. At least it is running, and I'm gonna talk to my homie, see what he thinks. I don't know where I'm gonna be able to find this thing at, and it seems as if, oh, where's my squirrel, buddy? See that squirrel right there? The squirrel seems to like coming to the shop and chilling out with me, so it's cool. I don't know if it's a he or she, so I just call it an it. Life has been an interesting adventure, y'all, especially since getting in the shop, especially since getting a tow truck. You know, every day I'm living out a part of my dreams. I mean, this is kind of a nightmare. It's not really a part of my dreams, but like I say, you know, you got to go all in if you're gonna risk it for the biscuit, you know, and your homie trying to eat, so you got to do what you got to do. Ain't no shame in my game. I'm gonna go ahead and try to figure something out. Be careful when you're hiring people, you know, and don't be quick to blame somebody for something. This is 90. This truck is almost 30 years old. This truck is almost as old as me, so I can't get mad at the truck. What's up, squirrel? Don't go in there. Yeah, let's. Oh no, oh God, no. Where'd it go? Oh no, where'd you go? Get out of here, squirrel. There you go. Oh God. That's another thing. If this squirrel were to if the squirrel were to chew up this harness, guess who would be responsible for it? This guy. Life's an interesting adventure, y'all. Make it what you want. You know what I'm saying? You only live once. You know, life's a trip, and then you die. So you might as well make the adventure the most gnarly adventure that you possibly can make it, because I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. And yes, you're gonna have pitfalls and hiccups and stuff like that along the way, but it's a part of the process, man. It's a part of the journey. Live, learn, laugh, and grow. Thank you again to everybody who subscribed to me. I know this was a bit of a rant. I'm a little bit frustrated because it ain't like it's just a part I could just go get. So it's you know, either way, like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys again for tuning in to your man. Any questions, any concerns, comments, leave them down below. And yeah, man, we still out here rocking and rolling and moving and grooving. Until next time, mi gente, pi pro mundo beneficio siempre. Peace.